All right, ladies and gentlemen, Baron here. So, kind of a cool announcement, I guess, going on right now. Although I'm still not entirely sure, what's all going down necessarily. But Enlisted was teased before the weekend. And they said that they had this big old timer, right? And then the time has expired, and now we have the information. Enlisted is currently in open development. They're crowdsourcing it, which we can get into in a moment. And it's a MMO squad-based first-person shooter featuring some of the most famous episodes from World War II. So every battle in World War II is actually a separate game. Enlisted is not a mixture of different World War II. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go ahead and check out a preview real quick. Alright, so that was it pretty much. Look at that. There is 20 seconds of very, very rough teasing, and then we have like 15 seconds of just that right there. Ooh, Star Wars The Old Republic. Not what we're talking about today. But anyway, so there's $1,865.10 raised of their goal of $250,000. Now, there's not a whole lot of information. We have no real footage of the game or rather what they're going to try to make the game look like, what they're just trying to make it feel like. You saw a very brief amount, and I just don't know if that was enough to really back a game. Plus, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the backer promises. Because, look at this. Oh, cool. This is cool. Infantry Mosin Rifle Modification 1891. The infantry modification has a longer barrel, which allows to shoot accurately at a very big distance. Does not include access to the game. The problem is, if you're looking for English-speaking investors, you're going to need to describe it a little bit better so that we actually know what's happening, because I don't know what this means. Does not include access to the game. Does that mean I just buy a picture of a rifle and I don't get it in the game when the game comes out? Or do you just not get access at all? Because then, who's going to back this game? See, practically speaking, I can't imagine that's the case. I think this is one of those things where, you don't have a proper English translator going on over there. So as a result, there's going to definitely be a breakdown in communication. If you were to crowdsource another game, they'd be like, oh, you're going to get this. When the game comes out, is it free to play? Is it not? I mean, obviously, we could read a little bit more, but we want to make every character and every weapon somewhat unique, similar to how it is done in some action-based tactical games. So what are you doing to change the game? Other than, we want to make it similar to how it's done in the other games that we want to emulate. And we've got a pretty nice... This is Normandy, the Normandy campaign going on right here. And let's go ahead and just preview all these pictures here. We got quite a few. So here is, what is it? I believe they have got 2 campaigns going on right here. They did announce it, right? So there's 2 theaters of World War II. Look at this. If we get to $250,000, this is like a stretch goal. We're going to get a Tunisia campaign. But, yeah, we've got Moscow in the trenches, and then the, look at this. It looks very nice, but if we have pictures of this, now, by the way, keep in mind, this is made in the War Thunder game engine that they use. I believe it's called Dragor or Dagor. This is these are good-looking screenshots, but how many times recently have you been burned by promises that were never delivered? That being said, you can see some of the weapons going on right there. We've got a Thompson PPSH, one of my favorite submachine guns. We've got a nice old Panzer right there, and the Wehrmacht in their winter camouflage here. So we've got France and we've got Russia as the 2 main areas for fighting. This is a really impressive beachhead, defenses and whatnot. Got big old bunkers. You got a windmill in the background. Looks like a blown out Sherman possibly right here. Granted, that almost looks like artwork. It's hard to tell, like, what is art. Is all of this in-game footage, right? I mean, because we only got 20 seconds of... Well, if you were to actually count the seconds, you'd probably be looking at... Look at this. All right, so we're at 6 seconds. And then there's a snapshot. So it's a nice little teaser, but I think you're going to need a little bit more information and a much better proof of concept prior to asking for money. But that being said, there's no time frame for, like, you know, what do we want to do if we back the project? Does not include, okay, so here we go. We've got the different backings, and they're pretty much just rifle packs. Right now, you've got the Mosin Nagant 1891, the Mauser 98K with a magazine under it, and the Springfield M1903 Air Service. So, bolt actions with extended mags, it looks like. But yeah, so after other online shooters are basically sports-like competitions with one team fighting against the other with the background set or decor of a particular historical period. But it's not a battle. It has nothing to do with the objectives that soldiers had in real warfare. The desire to actually walk in a real soldier's boots to be victorious against the opponent being a real person. This is what we as players seek in these games, but never find. I don't know about never. We just haven't found that in probably a good decade. Man, Call of Duty 1. Do you guys remember Call of Duty 1 on the PC? That was the shit. We want to not only create arenas for a 15 by 15 to 30 by 30 team fight. Now what are these? Are these 30 by 30 kilometers? Like, what is the distance we're working at here? I'm just saying, like, this just needs a little bit more information before I'm going to pull the trigger and back the game. But create scenarios that have tactics similar to real combat missions. Like, is this miles, kilometers, or is it... I mean, I can't imagine what else it would be, but you gotta describe it. You gotta let us know before anyone's gonna put money. Battles involving equal teams and equal conditions are, of course, interesting as a competition, but they do not have the immersion or the thrill of a real battle where balanced forces and symmetrical objectives are unlikely. The other features of Enlisted are detailed accuracy in every battle. You may be a defender of Moscow in the trenches dug around the city facing advancing enemy tanks and superior forces, which we kind of got to see real quick. Like, what was it? Basically, right at the end there, we saw a Russian with a PPSH going up against a few different infantrymen of the Germans and some enemy tanks. So are we going to be able to drive the tanks? Are we going to be able to crew an enemy vehicle there? Because that would be pretty cool. With an objective to hold the enemy to stop advancing army in its tracks with all the resources you have, which would be, you know, limited relative to what the Germans have. Your task is not to kill every enemy soldier. Imagine being a member of the landing operation with an objective of capturing a foothold and mounting defenses, making it possible for the main forces to land on the continent, or on the contrary, defend against the landing party or lead your troops so that they arrive in time to a strategic point. This is something one can experience in single-player games, but not in online game with human opponents. The next important feature of Enlisted is an opportunity to control a military unit in specific scenarios and not a single character. First, you gather your unit and then you play with this unit until you complete your objectives or until the last member of this unit of yours dies. So is this kind of like a mount and blade type scenario where you are first person controlling an individual soldier while still being able to issue commands to AI supporting characters? How does that exactly work? We just need a lot more, because it's just like we're going an inch deep and a mile wide. I wouldn't even say a mile wide, maybe like a quarter of a mile wide. And then they're saying, like, now fund the game. And we still don't really know what we get necessarily. But you can see now that they're limiting. That's classic marketing right there. They're limiting the number that can be backed for certain packs, these bigger packs. Like, oh, there's exclusivity and they might run out. Get them while you can. But what is this game about? There's a nice FAQ and I highly encourage you all to read it. What about matchmaking? What is the difference from other... This could be good. Every battle in World War II. We just read this. Yep, I just read that. Will it be first person or third person view? I mean, this is pretty... Currently, we have both. But we think that first person view should be the primary option. In some cases, third person is more comfortable, especially for new players. But the first person view provides much more immersion. That makes sense. Now, would third person be something you'd want to do if, once again, we have this kind of confusing little bit of information where we control a squad? Let's go ahead and minimize that. What are these? How do you plan to protect the game against the cheaters? Is Enlisted going to be at 100% historically accurate? How many soldiers will there be in one battle? This is pretty good. We have tested battles of 120 to 150 soldiers in one battle, and it seems that it will be close to the maximum. Greater numbers require another approach to details, since it means higher system requirements, at least with this level of detail. So a battle with 120 to 150 soldiers is something that I'm incredibly excited about. I'm one of those players that I mean, this is a game that's kind of being catered towards someone like myself, in that I want large-scale battles, and I don't necessarily want like esports type parity in battles. I want to be able to be taking advantage of the situation as it presents itself. I'm not the fastest or the twitchiest of shooters, but I'm kind of like a poacher if you're thinking about, like, you know, soccer and a striker. Like, I take advantage of an opportunity and put a goal in, just like in a first-person shooter. Like, I want to see a giant battle and then kind of adapt and play it as it presents itself. So system requirements requires DirectX 11, 64-bit system, Windows 7 or newer, 1 gigabyte NVIDIA 660 GT or similar. Why do you show how much money you have gathered? Yeah, there's a lot of this FAQ that I highly encourage you. Oh, here we go. At the moment, each campaign is planned as a separate paid game on Steam with limited demo access for your friends. From the start, it will be available in early access exclusively for crowdfunding supporters. So once again, like, each campaign is a separate game. That's interesting. So you can buy, what, Moscow or Normandy or both, and play them so they have separate player bases. There's a lot of stuff that we're going to need more information. What about video game consoles? Well, if you look here, if we raise $1 million, we'll put it on game consoles. And now that's something that at first you might bark at and be like, I don't know, that seems kind of stupid. Why don't you just put it? It takes money, and you need wholly, like, you know, from what I understand, my limited understanding on the matter is you're going to need people with different skill sets. You're going to have to hire new teams to port it over from PC to, say, PS4 or Xbox One. What happens to my money if the game isn't released? You get it back. I can assume that's what they're going to say, but you're going to want to read about this. Ooh, here we go. The game will be released in 2017. Before the release, there will be several stages to gather opinions and feedback and to adjust the game balance. There will be a closed alpha test, closed beta test for all crowdfunding supporters, and early access on Steam. Alongside, we're eager to launch the early access with a quality and feature set as close to the final version as possible. After early access launch, there will be only optimization, balance, and polishing work. Early access will last for a few months. So I like that. So closed beta test seems to be all for the crowdfunding supporters. Now, I mean, if you think about it, see, this is the thing. Does not include access to the game. So this needs to specify whether you buy the Springfield M1903 air service rifle if you're going to get access to the closed beta test. This is kind of just classic breakdown in maybe translation or communication, and I would imagine this could be updated in a matter of hours, right? And I highly encourage them to do that so we have more information before we put our money in. And that is, we need to know if this gets us, what level of the game does this get us access to, or does it not get us anything? And then if it doesn't get us anything, I truly have to ask you, why the hell would I be supporting it at this amount of dollars? Like, oh, support us for $1 to $5 just to see this game. I can see that. But for anything above that and like making this, I don't know, it's kind of confusing. So I highly encourage them to change this up just a bit to give a little more information. See, because I'm one of those people who I'd be like, okay, well, which one gets me access to the closed beta test? That's the one I'm going to buy because I'm a gambler on video games. You know what I mean? Like, this is my life. I play video games, right? So you're going to need a little more information. I highly encourage them to change that. Read over the FAQ. There will be a link in the video description. Ladies and gentlemen, this is ushering in a new era, at least for those of you who are big War Thunder fans and who have been following Gaijin for a couple years like I have. This is currently what? Their 4th game. There was Star Thunder, or what was that game called? Like, it never really materialized. War Thunder and that game were kind of developed around the same time, and War Thunder just took off, so I'm assuming they devoted their resources there. Then we had Crossout, which was kind of a flash in the pan, at least so far. Very fun game, but after a while, it kind of lost its allure. War Thunder's been holding strong for a good 4 years. This is a game that I could imagine, if being implemented right, would do rather well. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Baron. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your questions about this game. Like, I could email the guys over there. I have like 1 or 2 email contacts in the Kremlin, in Gaijin. And so I could, try to pass some questions along because I'm interested in backing this, but I need more information before I do that. But here we go. Next campaign by the player's choice. I guess that would be a vote. The Tunisia campaign and General Rommel and the Desert Fox. Game module. What does that mean? What's a game module? What's a game module by player's choice? And then I know what release on game consoles. And I need more information on this, guys. Anyway, this is Enlisted. Once again, we're going to show the trailer here, as short as it is. And let me know what you think of that.